When it comes to the road ahead for Canada's economy, several big themes have emerged. First, with our population now at a record level, there are questions about whether we have enough infrastructure to support that growth. And second, building for that future requires big commitments of capital. Well, Brian Porter is hoping to tackle both of those big issues after serving as the CEO at Scotiabank for nearly a decade. He was recently named chair of Ontario's new infrastructure bank. It was created by the provincial government to help build major projects in areas such as affordable housing, transportation, and healthcare. On that note, Mr. Porter had up until recently been chair of the University Health Network. He's also chair of Huron College at Western University and a board member with Fairfax Financial. Brian, it's nice to see you. Thanks very much for coming in.
John, thank you for having me.
And this new opportunity with the Ontario Infrastructure Bank, how did that come together?
Well, it was announced in the fall economic statement by the province that they were going to form the OIB, or the Ontario Infrastructure Bank, and it's just a function, as you said, about there's an infrastructure deficit in the province, population is increasing. It's a better way to deploy capital off the government's balance sheet to bring partners in to get some of these projects done.
Now, there is the federal government created an infrastructure bank as well in recent years. How does that work in conjunction with an Ontario infrastructure bank?
Well, I think there's lessons to be learned there. The CIB is off and running and deploying capital very well over the course of the last 2 years. We've had a lot of questions for them. They've been very forthcoming on some of the teething issues early on. But as I said, they've hit their stride. And I think that if the project is in Ontario, I could certainly see us partnering with the CIB.
And then I mentioned a range of potential projects, and the list is longer than that. Yeah. What become the priority projects for you as you're looking at the landscape going forward?
Well, I think most Ontarians could relate to this as long-term care. There's a dearth of facilities in the province. Affordable housing, everybody knows about where we are in terms of housing. Also, energy generation capability. If you look at the population increased over the last couple of years here in the province and extrapolate that, we're going to need more energy generating capability in the province. I would also say that we will partner with municipalities and with Indigenous groups in terms of transportation or energy infrastructure projects.
And you talked about some of the maybe early learning lessons from the federal government side. When it comes to actually getting big projects off the ground and off to the races, what's going to be your approach on that?
Well, we're it's early days.
Yeah.
We have to get a fully constituted board in place, and then we've got a recruitment process to hire a CEO, a CFO, a chief investment officer. And we're developing that criteria in terms of what the public interest is and what the financial feasibility is for these projects. But, there's some projects already that are piling up in the in tray, if you will. So, we want to do this thoughtfully and carefully, but with a degree of speed, if you will. And we're looking forward to it. And there'll be lots of challenges and lots of opportunity.
Given your banking experience and watching capital flows as well, how important is it for us to get the investment side right? I mean, how much capital has to come from where to make this really work?
Yeah, in Canada, we're home to a number of the world's largest pension funds, as we all know, leveraging their experience in terms of infrastructure, and some that the board will have. I've had the good fortune of being at Scotiabank for years, where we financed infrastructure in Australia, whether it was roadways or hospitals. We financed the expansion of the Panama Canal. We financed infrastructure in Mexico, Chile, et cetera, and here in Canada. So I think there'll be lots of experience that comes to the table. And it'll be a question of prioritizing the investments and also making sure, again, that they hit the threshold in terms of public interest and financial feasibility.
There's been some dialogue around how much of the investment from pension funds based here is coming back to Canada as a direct investment, as opposed to, let's say, infrastructure investments around the world. Do you think this is one of the ways then that we could see more of that?
For sure.
Okay.
And it's the pension funds have done a good job in terms of getting return for their stakeholders. In my past conversations with CEOs or people at the funds, there was always a lack of projects in Canada. Well, we hope to fill that void. And, there's no shortage of projects that are needed to be done here. So, we expect to partner with the pension funds and offer them some really interesting and exciting projects to invest in.
All right, and obviously people are trying to figure out where the economy goes from here, but this is part of a very long-term plan, and you mentioned seeing maybe some opportunities. How are you thinking about the roadmap, along with getting the management team in place, but just in terms of how it will all play out?
Well, every project is different, and, we'll have the flexibility to invest in different capacities. If it's senior debt, we expect to be repaid, but there might be the odd infrastructure investment we make that we're an equity holder, given its importance, and it might be important for the province to have an equity stake in the project. So we have a fair amount of flexibility in terms of where in the capital stack we invest. And we think that's the appropriate way to go.
If we can't get these long-term infrastructure issues solved, what's at stake here? I mean, even if you made a reference to the healthcare sector as well.
Yeah, it's about prosperity for Ontarians. When you get right down to it, is that we need to make investments today for economic growth and prosperity for citizens of Ontario 5 years out, 10 years out, 15 years out. A lot of these are long tail assets, which will have lives of 25, 30, maybe longer years. So, I think it's a great opportunity to set the stage, get some of the Canadian pension funds and possibly others involved in investments here in their own backyard.